The sun had begun its slow descent into the horizon, bleeding fire across the vast desert sky, when Samuel Hargrove urged his weary horse along the dusty trail that wound like a scar across the open plains, his thoughts heavy with the weight of years in silence, his mind drifting to memories. He tried hard not to summon the laughter of his wife as she bent over the stove, the way her hand fit perfectly in his when the evenings grew cold, the sound of her voice telling him that kindness was not weakness but strength. 2 years had passed since fever had stolen her from him, and though he had managed to keep his ranch standing, the house itself had grown quiet, filled only with the groan of wood and the whisper of wind through the cracks, and Samuel, a man once known for his easy smile and generous spirit, had grown into a figure of solitude, stoic and hardened, his heart a stone he thought would never beat soft again. And yet, as his horse clopped toward the split rail fence marking the southern edge of his land, something unusual stirred in his vision, a shadow that did not belong to the cottonwoods or the rocks, a figure small and ragged leaning against the broad trunk of a tree, so still he first thought it some abandoned bundle, some cast-off sack left by a traveler, but as he drew closer the shape moved, lifting its head with the slow, weary effort of the nearly broken, and he saw her clearly, a girl, no older than 20, her hair long and dark as a raven's wing, tangled with dust, her skin bronzed by sun and streaked with dirt, her dress worn at the seams, her feet bare and bleeding from the cruel stones of the desert, yet her eyes, black and burning, were alive with something he could not name, something between desperation and defiance, and for a moment Samuel felt the strange prick of unease ripple across his chest. He pulled his reins, and the horse snorted, stamping its hooves as though it too sensed the tension heavy in the air, and Samuel's voice came low, cautious, the kind of voice a man uses when danger is near. "What in God's name are you doing out here?" And the girl raised her chin slowly, her lips trembling with the strain of holding back weakness, and in a voice cracked from thirst yet steady in its strange conviction, she said, "I need me a broken bar to go on living," and the words struck him like a hammer, so odd, so raw, that for a heartbeat he did not understand whether they were plea, threat, or confession born of agony. And then she clutched a small bundle of cloth to her chest, nothing more than a ragged knot holding some meager belongings, and her voice broke again as she whispered, "My peoply broken bar gone, soldiers burned our camp, all dead. I cannot live alone, a woman cannot, I need me a broken bar or I die." Her honesty was not like the practiced begging of vagrants Samuel had seen on the streets of Dry Creek, not like the sly half-truths of traders or drifters trying to win a meal. It was naked, without shame, the cry of a soul stripped down to its bones, and Samuel, standing with the reins in his hand and dust swirling at his boots, felt something stir inside him, something he thought long buried beside the grave of his wife, the dangerous tug of pity, of duty, of the human need to answer another's suffering. He dismounted slowly, boots sinking into the powdery soil, and studied her with eyes sharpened by years of caution, for he knew the danger she carried in her very skin. Apache. The war between settlers and the Apache had not cooled, and a rancher seen harboring one could earn himself more than whispers. He could find himself tied to a post with a rope around his neck. The men in Dry Creek, quick to judge and quicker to shoot, would see her not as a girl but as an enemy, a reminder of raids and scalps, and to take her in was to risk everything he owned. But then Samuel thought of the loneliness that gnawed at him each night, the empty chair by the fire, the haunting silence in a house meant for two, and he thought of his wife's voice whispering that kindness was not weakness, that a man's measure was not in the land he owned or the cattle he branded but in the mercy he gave when no one else dared. "What's your name?" he asked at last, his tone still guarded but softer now, and the girl drew herself upright though her body swayed with exhaustion, her dark eyes never leaving his. "Tiny."